I'm Jeff Bloodrate, and welcome back to Tailor Tales. So we're picking up right where we left off with Neil here in the medical hospital. Whatever. I'm here for your blazer. I didn't have any way of contacting you, so I came here. Neil stretches out his hand, palm side up. Hand over your phone. Ooh, we're getting his number, he commands. I frown at him. Excuse me? He beckons at me with his hands, waiting for me to give him my phone. Well, I'm trying to go the non-passionate route, so. Hesitantly, I pull out my phone from my bag, and Neil immediately snatches it away. Hey, don't break it. Neil snorts at me. Don't you snort at me, Neil. Right, because you have lots of experience with that. My cheeks turn red, knowing he's right about that. What in the world kind of fossil is this, he says, looking at my phone with incredulous expressions. Whatever. This is ancient. This is ancient. I'm surprised it still runs. I mean, it still has buttons on it, like those senior mobile phones. Do we have a flip phone? If you can't use a phone with buttons, then you can hand it back. I bite out. In a few seconds, Neil enters something on my phone, then presents it back to me. I take it and I notice he created a new contact. His own name and presumably his phone number are written there. Well, you think? I narrow my eyes at him and quickly change his name to His Majesty in my contacts before putting the phone back in my bag. Now you won't have to come and spy on me at work, he says arrogantly. You do it too, so everyone here mouth. Like I wanted to spy on him. Look, I only wanted your opinion on these fabric swatches. I got them with me, so hurry up and decide which one you want so I can finish your garment. I open my bag and show him the small sample of swatches I have with me. It's mostly just a lot of different variations of gray. Neil takes it and studies each sample with a pensive look. Now that he's all concentrated and stopped running off his mouth, he actually looks really mature again. I wonder how old Neil is. He seems to be in his mid-20s. I think although when he's in this getup and looks serious, he looks like he's 30. I feel myself starting to be impressed by his look, not having seen him this mature before. After a while, Neil notices that I've been staring at him, and he looks up from the swatches. Quickly, I avert my eyes, a bit embarrassed he caught me staring. Is this all you have? He says with an annoyed huff. All of the most expensive dark gray fabrics available to me, yes. Perhaps expensive is only relevant to you. Those don't feel all that expensive to me. I frown at him. Must he always criticize everything? Yeah, he must. Because, he has an ego and he's full of himself. Well, if that's not your taste, then I try to grab the swatches back from him. Neil pulls it out of my reach with a little shake of his head. He then pulls out one of the samples, a shady dark with thick texture, and holds it up in front of my face. This one. Surprised that he's agreeing on one of the samples leaves me a bit stumped for words. Huh? I mutter. Great. Now I can finish his blazer. Neil places a hand on his hip and hands me back the swatches. Why can't I read whenever I play this dang thing? Anything else you needed? Yes. Yeah, how old are you? It kind of flies right out of my mouth, and even Neil looks surprised at my question. I bite my lips hard and suddenly feel all flustered for voicing my thoughts. I didn't really want to say this out loud. Neil composes himself and simply gives me a small huff. Regardless whether or not this information is relevant to the creation of a certain garment, I have to ask, is your memory broken? I simply blank at him, wondering what he's going on about. My memory? Don't you... Me? Seeing my confused face, he sighs. You really don't remember? Huh? You asked me before when we were kids, he says in a soft voice. Oh, right, memories. Suddenly, I remember back when we were kids, I had asked him for his age, and he said 8, which was a year older than me. That means, present day, Neil must be 24 years old. I look down with my hands in my lap, red-faced. Oh, is all I can say. Now I guess I forgot until now. I'm surprised you still remember, though. I don't forget things that are important to me. Neil fixes his tie. My eyes widen in surprise. Is he saying that the memories he has of me are important? Am I important? That means I won't forget about my watch. Ugh, of course, it was about the watch. Is that everything you came to see me for? I'm quite busy. Yes, don't let me keep you from going to meetings or whatever he does at the hospital. Have a nice day, Mitchell. Same. And with that, Mitchell disappears from the screen. For once, an actual civilized conversation has taken place between us. I am almost bothered by it. I finally head home. Back at Sunshine Bliss. Back at the store, I rack my brain trying to think of what I need to still do to get his blazer finished. It shouldn't take long now. I think I can get it fitted by the end of the week. So I decide to text Neil. Ooh, this is cool. Mitchell's name and then the little photo here. Are you free Saturday this weekend? It doesn't take long before I get an answer back. That was cool. You heard the vibration of the phone going off? I have plans, but I can squeeze you in. Will you have finished the garment by then? It should be ready by then, so please reserve an hour of your time that day. Speaking of reservations, are you going to be busy next month? Is he asking us out on a date? I'm wondering why Neil would ask me this. Maybe he's scheming something. It'll be October next month. Really? Dang. I don't have anything planned yet. Yeah. After that, Neil stops texting me, and I'm left to wonder what he meant with that question. Well, it's just Neil. Time to work on the blazer and get rid of him. Yeah, I don't think so. Alright, we are here on chapter 10. Dang, we're just making good progress with Neil's section. I wonder how long each character is, because there's different ones. The blazer is all but done now, after pulling a few all-nighters this week. I've been texting back and forth with Neil. He's as insufferable in text as he is in person, and we decided on a date where he can come fit the blazer. I guess the most fun part out of this whole arrangement was when I woke up with a text of mine asking him to remeasure his arm length at 2 a.m. in the morning. Jeez. He belittled me as expected, but actually gave me the measurements. Haha, the sucker. I didn't really need those measurements. I just wanted to wake him up at an ungodly hour so that he could suffer with me, considering I've been staying up this late for a few days in a row. Misery loves company after all. So here I am, anxiously waiting for Neil to drop by after working hours. Finally, I get to be done with this guy. Yeah, I don't think so. I think he likes you. Maybe. The bell rings and the door opens. Neil walks in, looking quite posh and self-assured, as usual. There's always this overconfident aurora around him. Good evening, he greets me. I nod my head at him. Come with me to the back. Oh boy. Don't awkwardly fall now. I lead him to the sewing room so I can fit and make any small adjustments to the blazer. Neil follows me quietly, but I can feel his eyes burn a hole in my back. It's uncomfortable. Speaking of uncomfortable, I wonder if he'll react the same way again I wonder if he'll react the same way again like last time whenever I touched him, jerking away from me as if I'm something disgusting. I mentally shake my head. He's a weird one. But after today, it should be all over. I quickly grab the blazer that's prepped and hanging on the wall, then hand it over to Neil. In a deliberately slow move, Neil takes it over and inspects it with a hawk eye. He slides the fabric through his fingers, looks at the lining and the craftsmanship, and I start to feel pretty nervous about it all. To be honest, I'm preparing myself for the harsh words and criticism, but because I know that's actually what he'll say. However, Neil doesn't say a word. He slides his arm into the sleeve and puts the blazer on. He turns to face the mirror and check himself out. He's probably like, hey, look at this handsome devil. Twisting his body from side to side to examine every angle. That's not what I was picturing it, but okay. I didn't picture it with the little vest. Actually, not bad. He looks quite dapper. I have no clue what that means in the blazer. It suits him, but I can already see a few alterations I need to make. It's a bit too wide at the waist. Here we go. I know it's Neil and all, and I shouldn't slave away for a guy like him, but it's against my principles to create sloppy garments. So, I ask him, impatient for his reaction. Neil sighs and closes his eyes for a minute. It's nothing remarkable, and it's a bit too wide at my waist. Yeah, I realize that. My cheeks are already glowing pink, and I can't help but glare at him, even though he's right about the last part. What a thankless man. But it's passable, decent enough to wear. Just a few small adjustments, and people might actually compliment me for wearing it. I blinked at Neil. Was that a compliment? I stare at him in shock. At a loss of words, Neil notices me staring at him, and he gives me an indignant stuff. Well, you are going to continue to are you going to continue to stand there and stare at me in awe, or are you going to fix your mistakes? He sneers at me. He quickly takes the blazer off and hands it over to me. Quit your whining. I'm doing this for free, I snap at him. I take the blazer and hop on over towards my sewing machine and start to narrow the waistline. That's cool. You can hear the sewing too. It should be a quick adjustment, so it doesn't take long before I'm finished. The sound of the sewing machine's needle plucking down fills the room, and Neil is tapping his foot on the ground impatiently. Oh my gosh, would you just hold your horses? Once I'm finished, I hand it over to him, and he tries it on once more. Neil looks at himself in the mirror. The fit is a lot better now. Yeah, let's let him be the judge of that. Alright, this seems adequate enough, he says. I sigh in relief. I'm finished. Neil awkwardly fiddles around with the cuffs of the blazer, as if he doesn't know what to say at the moment. But then he finally does speak up. Someone might actually want to try and find out who the tailor is. At least its quality shouldn't be put me to shame. I look at him weirdly. Is this another compliment? Look at that smile. I can't tell for sure. It's so awkwardly worded. Are you so worried about what people might think about you? I ask. Neil raises an eyebrow. at me in the mirror, then shakes his head. I don't waste any time worrying on inconsequential issues like that. Your actions say otherwise, though, I say softly with a roll of my eyes. Neil definitely cares about what people think of him. Just look at how much he cares about a blazer. Oh my gosh, just look at how much he cares what a blazer should look like. Neil turns around to face me. No one has the time to be worrying about what the world thinks of them. That's true. They only really care about what a select few people have to say. That is true, says Neil in a low and serious voice. I'm a bit taken aback by his response, as it sounds mature and well thought out, and I hadn't expected that coming out of the mouth of Neil, of all people. Every time I read games like this, it's always a struggle. I don't know why. It actually makes me curious if he had someone in mind when he said that. Maybe he had me in mind. See, I think my brain processes words faster than my mouth can spew it out. That's why I probably struggle. So I look at him with curious eyes. I wonder who those people are. Does Neil even have anyone he cares about? Does that mean you have a select few people whose opinion of you matters? Neil's cheeks flush a little bit with pink. He turns his back on me to continue inspecting himself in the mirror. He doesn't say anything. How long are we going to spend back here, looking at your handsome devilish self? As Neil is still checking himself out in the mirror, he speaks up. You know, I'll be at a party next month. People will be wearing the most beautiful costumes around the world. I'm sure even someone like you could learn something from seeing them. I bit my lip and frowned at him for changing the subject. What is he getting at? And why are you telling me? I figured you'd be interested in a masquerade ball. I think that was one of the scenes, actually, if I remember correctly from what I saw picture-wise. What with you playing dress up all the time, Neil shrugs nonchalantly as he finally steps away from the mirror. He's asking us out to a party. I make clothes. I don't play. I stress the words. Feeling insulted, he hand waves at what I said. Same thing. Then he leans down with his elbows onto my crafting table. Geez, Neil, do you have to get close? Are you interested? Interested in what? I roll my eyes at him. He's asking you out on a date. Geez, you don't have to act coy. I know even someone like you would love to be invited to a ball, no matter how low of a status they have. My nostrils flare up in anger. Listen here, Neil. Under no circumstances am I interested. So I've got an invitation right here. Neil completely talks over me, and he takes something out of his back pocket. It's a cream-colored envelope. He shifts it between his fingers, looking smug and full of himself like always. Even you would be grateful to be invited to such a big profile event. You could create your own costume and show off your work. Neil smiles at himself. You should be thanking me for even thinking about giving you an invitation. How dare he talk about me like that? I take the envelope out of his hand and slam it into the counter. I can't read. Who says I even wanted to attend? Don't just go ahead and make decisions for me. Neil looks taken aback, but then he shakes his head a little, and his arrogant face is back to normal. There's a lot of people, celebrities even, who show off their various designer costumes. I think it would be wise to accept this invitation if you want to make a name for yourself as a tailor there. It's an opportunity for you to create some connections. He's got a point. if it's anything like he describes, people will be flaunting their costumes, and perhaps I could make a name for myself and snatch some celebrities as clients. But I don't really want to admit this to Neil. My pride won't allow it. How long are we going to spend back here? Jeez. My eyes are focused on the envelope. I'm conflicted about it. Alright, we'll read one couple more and then we'll call it an episode. I thought I was going to stop seeing Neil around any longer. But now he's waving this invitation around in my face. That could definitely be good for my business. I really don't know what to do. And what do you want in return? I finally ask. There's got to be a catch. Yeah, there's always that catch. No way would Neil offer this to me for free. There's a sly smile on Neil's lips. I might give it to you if you beg, he says gleefully. Gross. I stare at him, my eyes glazing over as if I'm watching the most boring documentary on earth. Neil doesn't seem to like my reaction. He probably expected something else. Perhaps an excuse to stop quibbling with me again. And with that being said, we are going to end this episode of Tailor Tales here. I hope you guys had fun despite my struggle to read. Every time I play a game where I have to read like this, for some reason it's always a struggle. Anyways, I've been Jeff Budway, and I'll see you next time.